Welcome back to Beyond the Buzzer. I'm Dave Glavin here with Shay Sullivan. Shay, how we doing?
Doing great. Doing well.
Good
How
to
are you?
hear. I'm doing well.
Nice.
Getting to one of the best times of the NBA season, the trade deadline, which is 1 week from today, February 6th. We had some news a few days ago that one of the biggest names at this year's deadline might be on the move, De'Aaron Fox. So I wanted to start there. We'll definitely talk about other teams, other players, and get into some other news. But De'Aaron Fox, personally, I don't think he's getting moved at this deadline, but I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you, but this one kind of came out of nowhere, right? When I heard it, I was like, I haven't heard anything. Like, I haven't heard him be disgruntled or anything like that. But I know De'Aaron Fox's people are hard to work with. Like, that whole Rich Paul,
Clutch Sports.
that group is tough to work with. So I get it. I agree with you, though. I think they're going to wait till this offseason. It doesn't make sense. Well, when did that Halliburton deal go down? Was that midseason?
That was midseason.
All right. Well, so, I mean, they've shown that they will do the midseason trade. I don't know how you flip Halliburton for Fox, basically, and now you're going to sell him. Like,
But they got Sabonis in that, but it was because they had Fox.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So why wouldn't you trade Fox if 2 years down the line you knew? So this must have really came out of nowhere where he just said, you know what, we're not winning, not happy. I don't know. The team's clearly not a top. They're not a contender at this point. The way the roster's assembled, they'll never win anything. I think they'll maybe win a playoff series. But that's today's NBA. If you're not going to win, if you're not a contender, you just want out. So honestly, I'm disappointed. I think there's plenty of suitors for De'Aaron Fox. I'm not sure who's going to be willing to give up a lot because he's going to go for a lot. But who do you think are his potential suitors?
So to touch on him being disgruntled, I think it goes back just based on what I've been reading to last summer. He could have signed an extension, and they didn't agree to a number. So, and you're like you said, you're dealing with Clutch Sports. They're gonna try to maximize what that person can get, even if it means asking out elsewhere to get it. As far as suitors, I don't see any viable ones at the deadline. I don't think it makes sense for San Antonio to do it at the deadline. Houston, I do like as a fit, but not at it wouldn't be till after this season. You can't mess up what they have going right now. I think that should be the most likely option, though, this offseason, because they have guys that could contribute right now and picks.
Houston, I think that's ideal. Would that involve Fred VanVleet or?
It would. Fred's he has a team option for like $40 million this offseason.
Oh, gross.
My guess is they decline it and then sign and trade him to a better deal.
Smart.
Maybe include a young guy or two plus picks because De'Aaron's going to go for a haul. I do like Miami as well. I don't think they have the package that Houston could have.
Agreed. And if it is Miami, if it is Miami, they would be someone to do it now. Like, you got to do this now because
exactly
that would keep Jimmy Butler around. Maybe, probably not. At this point, I think that relationship is severed. That's probably what we're going to talk about next. But
yeah, my guess is he's going out in that deal, not necessarily to Sacramento, but he would be the salary going out.
Okay.
That relationship severed. Gone.
Yeah. Three suspensions in a month. This one's indefinite. It seems I don't know. I get the Heat side. Like, the guy shows up, he's been a complete toxic mess to the team. He shows up and you're like, yeah, you're not starting. You haven't been here. You've been suspended. You're gonna come off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I get that side of it. I also get Jimmy Butler's side of it. Like, come on, man, we're trying to win. What do you mean I'm coming off the bench? The thing with Jimmy Butler, absolutely a diva, complete mental head case. Mm-hmm. When he plays, though, he's going to try to win. He's going to give it his all to win. And even in practice, like, we've seen when he demands out, like Timberwolves, that was a crazy situation he was in. I don't think that this is the same way which makes me, question Jimmy a little more this time around. But I think whoever gets him is going to get a winner, even though he's never really won anything, which again is my whole thing about Jimmy Butler. Like, is he a winner? Is he not? Is he this? What's his deal?
Fierce competitor. Absolutely.
Yep.
I think it's tough with like the ring culture. Like only one team can win every year. So like, are those the only winners? Like, I think you could call Jimmy Butler a winner. Like
I agree.
dragging two teams to the NBA Finals that had no business probably being there.
Yep.
I think he's a winner. I think from the team side of it, it started last summer. Pat Riley was like, "Oh, we don't have to discuss an extension until the 25 offseason, and we want to make sure that he's available because he hasn't been during the regular season." So from their side of it, do they really want to give a max contract to a guy that's 35? No. And unavailable? Or from Jimmy's side of it, I just dragged two teams to the NBA Finals. Like, reward me with that contract. He sees Paul George get paid. Kawhi gets his extension. We know about him being fragile. But I think the Paul George contract was just not a good deal. We can already see that right now for Philly. So it's tough, but I'm on the team side of it, especially with how he's acted.
Does he have any trade value at this point?
At this point, it's in the gutter.
Yeah.
It's my guess is expiring contracts or just contracts to match his salary that don't have long-term money, and maybe a first at the most, a couple
just
seconds.
Yeah, just take it and move on at this point.
Get him out of the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, the team's not terrible. I mean, they're young guys who they thought were going to be players aren't there yet. I'm not ready to say they're not players, but they're not there yet. Clearly, the team's not a contender at this point. So it's kind of the same situation as Sacramento. Like, they're still trying to win now. The team, you can't bottom out with this team, and that's the same as Sacramento. Normally when you're trading your star player, it's like, all right, we're going to bottom out. We're going to be bad for a couple of years, but we're going to get high draft picks. We're going to get a good return, and we'll be back in 3 to 4 years. If you trade Jimmy Butler, you're not bottoming out. You are still a top 8 team in the East. Like, this is not even a rebuild. I mean, technically it is. I don't know. The Heat are in a tough spot. Obviously, you got to trade him away. Can you get something in return? Young prospect, or like you said, a first-round pick. It's got to be something like that to just help ignite this rebuild. And Miami is a very nice place, right? It's a good free agent destination. I feel like that's got to be their route going forward.
Absolutely, and they've said they want to prioritize having cap space in 2026, which could be our return of an actual free agency with a guy like Fox, who's a free agent in 26. Luka is a free agent in 2026, hasn't signed the extension yet. But one thing you were talking about, like them rebuilding. I agree. It's tough when you have Bam and Tyler Hero. Like you don't really rebuild. And same with Sacramento. You have Sabonis and you just signed DeRozan. So like that's not a rebuilding move.
No.
I think Sacramento, like they're probably gonna want win now guys and a couple picks is my guess for Fox. So that's where I have trouble seeing San Antonio make a good enough offer.
Yeah, they don't have guys that can win now.
Yeah, unless they include Castle. I think Sacramento would do that.
But if you're San Antonio, I think it's way too early to give up on a guy like Castle right now.
No need right now. Because it's not like De'Aaron Fox is the last piece of the puzzle. Like there's so many other question marks on that team. And you want your pick to be as good as possible in this draft and in next year's draft because they're loaded.
It makes the most sense. And then sign De'Aaron Fox in 2026 or,
Yep. If he really wants to go,
yeah,
Just go as a free agent. Don't give anything up.
And that's what he said was his preferred destination, right? San Antonio?
According to Shams, yeah, allegedly. They don't want to confirm it. I don't really know why. They're being weird about it.
Maybe some trade, what do they call that? Just fighting each other. They're getting teams to fight each other. And
drive the price up maybe. I don't know. But Orlando's been proposed as well. I don't hate it. I don't love it, though, because he's not a great shooter.
No, they need shooting.
Desperately. He would help them offensively, though. I mean, they have the worst offense in the league by points.
Well, that'll be an interesting one. Do you want to talk about your squad, the Lakers?
Lake Show?
Do they make a move?
Lake Show, last week we beat Golden State. I was riding on my high horse. Looked good. Felt good. It just beat Boston. I mean, that's always like the most important 2 games of the year is Boston twice. You got to win those. AD goes down. Abdominal strain.
Yeah, it was bound to happen.
Probably out to the All-Star break. They're just saying a week. My guess he's out to the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Does this give us some incentive to go get a big? I would hope so.
Wasn't there already an incentive? Like you guys,
there already was.
Yes.
There already was. I've never seen AD do a sit-down interview and basically ask Rob Pelinka for something.
And that's exactly what he did.
Exactly what he did. I don't think – I'm probably delusional. I don't think we're that far off from other teams in the West, the way the West is this year.
I agree.
Oklahoma City above everybody else. But in the Houston, Memphis, Denver, Clippers, Mavericks, those are the 2 through 6. I'd say fully healthy, the Mavericks are second, and then everyone else, like Denver is susceptible. They're not as good defensively as they were that championship year. But we need another big. We've seen what they do to just AD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's dominance. But the question is who? Like what big is realistically attainable? It seems like Kessler is not.
It looks like Kessler or, I mean, my star target for the Lakers, and this kind of goes like, is this LeBron's last true run with the Lakers this year?
I think it is.
I think it is too. I think you got to go get Miles Turner. Expiring deal.
Yep.
You have to get some insurance that he is going to re-sign with you guys, but it's probably him or bust, right?
Miles Turner is the perfect complement to AD.
Yep.
He's good enough of a defender where you could put him on Jokic and have AD on Gordon in the dunker spot and just lurk to double Jokic in the paint.
Yep.
And he can also stretch the floor. Like AD, his jumper is better this year from 3, but Turner's a legit 38, 39%. Have to respect it out there.
Absolutely.
I don't like a Rob Will or someone that really can't shoot, because then I feel like our offense with both of them on the floor is a lot harder.
Absolutely. He'd have to be like, if you're getting a guy like that, like Walker Kessler or even Rob Will, like they're probably coming off the bench, and then maybe you get some minutes in the game where they're both on the floor together. But Miles Turner is probably going to cost Rui or one of these assets that they're not willing to give up, which is stupid to me. Like this is legit your last chance. How old's LeBron? 41, 40?
He's 40.
40. So next year he's 41. 80's a year older. Like this is every year your chances get lower and lower just because your best players are older and more susceptible to injuries. And like, why not? And why isn't there more of a push from LeBron? I would have guaranteed he would have come out and said something already based on his last few seasons with the Lakers, but he hasn't.
A couple weeks ago, before the AD thing, he had that interview where he's like, the way the roster is currently constructed, we have to play perfect to have a chance to win.
Yeah,
that's his passive aggressive Rob step up and you can get a deal done.
Yeah.
If you're Indiana, why? I know there's rumors that they don't want to pay him $30 million annually.
Yeah.
Which I understand based on their cap sheet, but you're the 4 seed in the East right now. You have home court advantage. I don't think there's any incentive to move Turner to the Lakers unless you're getting a center back.
All right.
And
Well,
they don't have one to give.
No, but ready? You're the Pacers right now. Are you beating the Celtics in a playoff series?
No.
Are you beating the Knicks?
I'm not ready to say a definitive no
Really?
because of how little depth that team has.
Fair.
One of the wings goes down, OG or McHale. Tyler Kolek and Landry Shamet are filling in.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. I'm still taking the Knicks. I think they win 4-2. That was a fluke last year. Maybe it's a tough matchup. So I guess, yeah, that one's more of a toss-up. Are you beating the Bucks in a 7-game series?
Yes.
What? You really think that?
Yes.
The Bucks, in my opinion, are the team that poses the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East. I think they are playing. Giannis, dude, he's completely developed a mid-range shot. He's done shooting threes, which is like, hallelujah. Why do we need you to shoot threes? You're an unbelievable in the paint, and now he has a midi. Like, he is taking the next step.
I'm not disagreeing that he would be the best player in the series by far.
By far.
Milwaukee worries me defensively. And Indiana's not a great defensive team either. But, I mean, those games are 140 to 145 in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, easily. Yeah, shootouts.
I could see Milwaukee winning. I'd give Indiana the edge.
Interesting. And then the Cavs. You beating the Cavs?
Cavs. I'm interested to see Evan Mobley hit threes in a playoff game.
I agree with that. Yeah. But you're much higher on the Pacers than I am at this point.
I am. But you're the 4 seed. Like, you have home court advantage.
Currently.
Unless you can currently. You're a half game up on wait, hold on. I had it sorted. I had it sorted wrong. You're the 5 seed. Milwaukee's the 4 seed. You're a half game back.
And the Magic are healthy now. So that's
Magic are healthy. They're 3 games back. So the 3 seeds out of reach, you're 5 back at the Knicks. So you just have to maintain, and you'll be in that Milwaukee or where they are, 4 or 5.
So you got to go through Milwaukee. You got to go through everyone from that position, though. That's the worst spot to be.
You'd play Milwaukee round 1, and then you'd play Cleveland round 2.
Say you win that.
Yeah,
Celtics Knicks. Yeah. Like, good luck.
That's fair.
The team's not winning. Like, last year was like, I compare that to the Hawks Eastern Conference run. Like, they didn't really have – they got a couple good matchups, a couple lucky breaks. And I wouldn't say last year's run was lucky, but Andrew Nemhard becoming like this scorer in the playoffs, and all these guys, they played perfect last year. They were a real threat. But this year, they started out wicked slow. They've come around. They're playing much better as of late.
Yep.
But like this month in January, they lost 2 games. So before this big month, this team was like 7-8. They were out of the playoffs.
They were not good. Yeah, they've turned it around. I don't see them, like, they don't have a starting caliber big if Turner gets moved. If they could somehow work out a 3-way deal with like Toronto to get Jakob Poeltl,
something back. Yeah.
I mean, he'd cost so say Turner wants $30 million, he would be at $20 million, and he's under team control for at least another year. I think he has a player option in 26, 27. So you get basically the same contract as Turner right now, but for 2 more years. And probably a tier below. Like, he's not the same shooter. He's probably as good of a defender.
Yeah,
as Miles.
Right now. Miles is shooting 40% from 3 this year.
Yeah, so there's only 3 or 4 bigs that can do that. I don't think the Lakers have a good enough offer, or are willing to trade all of their picks to do it. Like, it'd be 2 firsts.
Yeah, Rui
and 1 more guy to fill the salary. Probably
sign me up,
Hood Chavino. I agree. When are you going to have another chance at the arguably the GOAT, one or two in his last run.
And like you've said, they've shown that there is potential that they could make a run. The teams,
they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, they will be 27-19 after tonight, after they play the 6-40 Wizards. So
The Wizards.
I feel comfortable calling that a win. I mean, that's prime position.
So they get Miles Turner, right? For Rui, Hood Shavino, 2 firsts, and a swap. Does a Austin Reeves, does Christie go to the bench?
I like how he's been playing. I wouldn't be probably, you'd probably have to do that and start.
He goes to the bench. LeBron probably plays the 1.
Which is fine.
AR at the 2, Dorian Finney-Smith at the 3.
That's a big lineup, man.
Miles Turner.
That's a huge lineup.
And you can go Christie for Dorian Finney-Smith if you have to play a smaller team.
Exactly. That gives you a lot of versatility. I mean, it seems like a win-win for both teams because the Pacers, all you have to do, wait this rest of the season. You're probably in the same spot. You're probably the 6th seed in the East, 5, 6 seed when you trade him away, depending on what you get back. And say the Lakers, LeBron gets hurt, and it's like, they don't even make a playoff run. Now those picks are looking mighty fine because this team's on the verge of collapse. And you're probably not drafting those picks. You're looking to move those to build around Tyrese and the guys you've got now. I don't think you're making this move to draft picks in 2030, whenever these Lakers picks be from.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think the Lakers, like if they get that offer, I still don't think they would do it if they don't get a big back. The only big would be Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, that's nothing. So
no. So I think it would have to be some deal where they get a starting caliber big back.
Could you move Pascal to the 5?
No. I don't like in the East, Milwaukee would dominate them inside. Giannis.
Milwaukee's going to dominate them anyways.
Fair, but and then you got Cat, Porzingis, and Mobley and Allen. I mean, you're feeding Siakam to the wolves. He's like 6'7".
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he'd be an undersized center. I guess that's the holdup. The Lakers just don't have that win now guy. But
I'm not sure a team that has an extra, like if they have an extra big, we should be the ones going for him right now, not Indy. I don't think Vucevic, like Indiana, would they want Vooch? He's awful defensively. He'd be similar offensively, probably better than Turner.
He gets moved this year, right? Vucevic, they finally move on from him.
You'd think. The Bulls are an anomaly. Everything you think they should do, they do the opposite.
Yeah. So Levine's on personal leave right now. When I first saw that, I thought he was getting traded, but
he had a kid.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't look into that. All right. That makes more sense.
Yeah. I saw that too. I was like, hold on. But
yeah, what's this?
Nah, he had a kid.
All right. That ruins that. Ruins that angle.
I'd sign up for Miles Turner in LA. I just don't see us giving up what would be required.
All right, that's fair. So those are the real big names, right? We've basically touched on all the.
Yeah, Jimmy is tough to. I mean, I can't. I told you the first week that the report came out that this was silly to even talk about because no one is going to take Bradley Beal. He has the worst contract in the league by far.
Yeah.
And unless they force him out and pay him on the side to waive his no trade clause and send him to back to Washington, there's no chance he's getting moved. And that's the only way they can get Jimmy. I think it's just been blown out of proportion how realistic it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. The only other team that I want to touch on, because I have their over, is the Hawks. Jalen Johnson, shoulder injury, out for a year.
Brutal.
They're now 22 and 25. It looks like this season's about to slip into the gutter. They have their own pick. As far as they don't. Okay, well,
San Antonio has their picks for the next 3 years.
I forgot about that stupid trade.
Dejounte Murray.
So whose picks they got back? The Pelicans
They
picks?
got LA. They have the Lakers pick this year.
Okay.
And they have a Sacramento pick that's top 12 protected. So if it's at the end of the lottery or above, they'll get that pick as well.
All right. Well, I was going to say, sell off at this point and tank it out. But if you don't even have your own pick, they're in a tough spot. I know there's been some rumors about Bogdanovich being available at the trade deadline. I mean, he's a great asset for any contender.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like now that Jalen Johnson's out for the year, that was their second best player by a mile. Is Clint do they just start selling off some of these guys?
Clint's on expiring. I could see him getting moved. It's like over $20 million. So I'm interested who's going to pay for a $20 million Clint. But I did see, I was deep in the archives on Twitter watching looking for De'Aaron Fox trades. And I saw a weird swap. I don't think that the Spurs would do it right now, but depending on where the Hawks pick ends up, if they were really interested in De'Aaron Fox, getting him, sending the assets to Atlanta, like Atlanta gets their picks back, and Trae Young goes to Sacramento.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't think
now you suck. Now you suck and you're getting your picks back.
You get your picks back. You can reset with Shea and Johnson and Daniels.
Interesting. I like that. I do like that.
And Sacramento gets their win now guy. Kind of fills the same role as Fox. I think he's better than Fox.
Way better shooter, better facilitator.
Yeah.
That's about it offensively, but
defensively, you're still terrible, Sacramento.
They're terrible no matter what.
Yeah. That could be an option.
I like it.
I still don't think the Spurs trade for De'Aaron Fox. Like, if you're the Spurs, I'm thinking about Wemby's second contract. So that'd be like he's got next year and the year after on his rookie deal. So Wemby 3 years from now until 8 years from now. So that 5-year stretch is what I'm thinking about. Is De'Aaron Fox the guy that I want to pair next to him? I don't think so.
No, I agree with you. Absolutely not. But there's which is, it sounds weird. Like when I thought about it, and we've all thought about this too, like this is the next generational talent. Who is his guy? Who's his second man? Who's his Pippen? Who's his AD or Wade / Kyrie for LeBron? Mm-hmm. Is Wemby good enough to kind of take the LeBron route and just do it with whoever he wants? Or do you really have to be precise and find this guy that's going to be a perfect fit off of him?
I think a ton of people, because of his talent, could be a perfect fit.
But Fox is not one of them.
Oh, I think Fox would be a fantastic fit. I don't think Fox – I think he's like 26, 27. I don't think he's the long-term – like I'm planning for Wemby, assuming he wants to be in San Antonio, which it sounds like he does.
Yep. I'm
planning for like his 25 to 35 years, his 25 to 32.
Gotcha.
I'd much rather be elite then than really good right now.
So that person's probably won a championship by that point with a lesser role. Like that's who I would pair with them.
Or they're in this draft or the next draft.
True, very true. Or it could be a guy that's a rookie this year. Like it could be Castle.
I don't think so, but
probably not. What about Simons? Is he
Anthony?
Anthony Simons, how old is he? About Fox's age, right? 24, 25?
I think he's – I would like him less with he's 25. I'd like him less with Wemby than Fox.
Okay. I'm just thinking young
But
guards, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I do think the Blazers should move him, but the Blazers are the Bulls of the West.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, it's become that balancing two timelines, and you're not good enough to compete, or you're not bad enough to get an elite draft pick.
That's they are one elite draft pick from being like, wow, we have something in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
I think.
I think if you like, it's easier said than done, obviously, but you move people so that you're starting Scoot, Shaden, Tumani, and Denny and Klingon. Those are your five.
And you will suck.
You're going to be bad.
Yes.
But long term, you can see if you actually have something with those guys.
Good point. Right now, that's the question. Like, what do we have in Scoot? What do we have in Sharp?
And
what?
we're starting Simons, who, like, is good, but he's not going to raise your ceiling. Like, he's going to raise your floor.
Yeah.
He's not an elite player. And you have Ayton, who, don't even get me started about Ayton. Terrible locker room guy.
Speaking of a big on the move, like that, who would even want that guy?
No one. I don't want him in my facility.
No, don't. Yeah.
Terrible example for any young guy on how to play. He should be a 23-12 guy every night.
He just does it when he wants.
Doesn't care. Yeah, doesn't care. And Jeremy Grant, I mean, like, I guess good piece to have.
Yeah. He that's his whole career, though. Make a lot of money and playing on terrible teams. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah. I do really like Denny Avdija and Kamara as like your wing.
Yes, both of them have been elite lately too.
And Kamara, they picked up in the Ayton deal, which I believe was the Dame deal, right?
Yes, because you sent Nurk to Phoenix.
Yes. They picked him up as just kind of a throw-in. He was like one of the last picks of the draft, and Phoenix is probably kicking themselves right now that they don't have a guy like that.
Yeah, I would think that's more luck than skill on the Blazers side, but
player development, which they haven't done in the past.
No, it's like you see
but that's
coaches.
That's a great find.
Yeah, I love Chauncey Billups as a coach, but like you see coaches get fired for like things so much less than what Chauncey's done.
Every year, there's like 3 or 4 games that they lose by like 50.
Yes,
and you're like,
that's
how is Chauncey. This guy? How that's not him?
No, it's what is he supposed to do with this awful roster? He like, look what they've given him. This is his 4th year now.
Yeah. I think they lost. Didn't they lose a game last year by like 60 points?
Yeah, probably 70 maybe.
I gotta look it up. I like at that point, you've lost the locker room. 60 points in an NBA game.
But right now, he's got him sitting 18-29. Which, yeah, you're right. Nothing to be like, woohoo. But it's
they have been playing better lately.
Yeah, he couldn't figure out Dame and that whole thing. That was never
last year against the Thunder. 62 points.
That's unbelievable, and that's the state of the NBA. Like, how do we have a team that's? I mean, it happens every year, but like 6-40 before the deadline. Like, you haven't won 6 games. You haven't even gotten lucky enough to get to 10 wins yet.
No, that team's bad. They're 1-21 on the road.
Like, what are we doing? Yeah, like just why are we even playing the games?
I think I'm honestly surprised there aren't more teams that are that bad, considering how good Flag is.
Yeah, I mean, you have your. There's a couple of them though.
Utah, Washington, New Orleans isn't even. I don't think New Orleans and Charlotte are trying to be bad. They just are bad.
Like Miles Bridges last night had the most points in the Hornets. He went 1 from 8 from 3. He's shooting 30% on the year from 3. Yeah. Why are you taking 8 threes? It doesn't make sense. You were 1 of 8. It's like it's just bad.
The Pels, they've had injury issues, so I think they're kind of an asterisk. They fully healthy, that team's not 12-36. But the Hornets, I mean, LaMelo's missed some time, but that team just stinks. Like they're not good.
They suck.
Brooklyn and Toronto. They're trying to be bad. Portland, I don't think they're trying to be bad, but they should.
No. Yeah, they definitely should. I wonder if that was a message from the league, like, hey, we had our little sweepstakes last year. It got a little out of hand. Hey, let's try to be more competitive this year, guys.
I don't know. I think it's just a natural thing that happens. Like they're not losing games intentionally, but they're putting out teams that are not going to win a lot of games.
I would argue that teams are trying to lose intentionally. Like it's smart. That's the smart thing to do.
I would do it in their position. It's a tough balance between like building a culture, because we saw it with Philly. Like they literally lost intentionally, and it totally messed up Embiid and Simmons because they didn't know how to win.
That's a good point. They still haven't won, but they have won 4 straight, right? I think so. 4 straight.
They have 4 in a row
over some decent teams. So.
They'll get in. I mean, Chicago has that last play-in spot. They're not going anywhere. Atlanta,
no. And this is my problem with the play-in, because for the West, sign me up. But you're not going to have. Normally, the conferences are going to be more even. Like, why do I want to see the Bulls, who are 20-28, competing for a playoff spot? Like, what? And same with the Hawks at this point. Their season's over.
Yeah.
Pistons, like they're all under 500. They can't even win more than they lose. Yet they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Bulls would be the 12 seed in the West right now,
which is not even that's tank.
Yeah, they'd have no shot of the play-in.
And then everyone in the West has an over 500 record. What were you gonna say?
Back to the Cooper Flag, like his best destination. I love Washington.
Why?
A Cooper Flag, Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr defensive front is kind of scary.
Okay, I like
a lot of holes. Believe me,
they are 7 years away.
Yes. Oh yeah, 5 to 7 years away. If they get Flag, 5.
It's 5. Yeah, until you're a true contender. I think.
He like the Jazz. I mean, I want him in not that Washington's a big market. It's a big city. I don't want Cooper Flag going to Utah.
No, I agree.
Ainge wants him. I'd love to see him in Brooklyn.
That would be a fun one. That would be the funnest option.
Yeah. Toronto. Don't love it.
No.
Chicago.
It will not be Toronto. It will not be Toronto.
They won't let it happen?
No. He ain't going to Canada.
The Raptors will never win the lottery?
They'll never. Have they ever even sniffed it? That's a good question. Like, what's the highest Toronto's ever finished in the lottery? I'm going to look that up real quick.
I'm looking it up. Toronto Raptors highest.
They've never got the number 1. I don't remember that.
Let's see.
My guess would be 7.
So 4. They picked Scotty Barnes at 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They did have the number 1 pick in 2006. They had 4. They've had 4 a bunch. They had 2. All right, so it is possible.
Who'd they pick in 2006? I don't even know who that is.
Andre Bargnani.
Oh, I know who that is. Yeah. All right.
Guess who went number 2?
2006 is going to be a stud.
LaMarcus Aldridge, your guy.
Yeah.
They passed on him for Andre Bargnani.
Yikes.
Yeah.
LaMarcus, man, that was I should know this. It's not Texas. I want to say Texas.
Yeah,
it is
he's
Texas.
A Longhorn.
Yep. All right, good. Yep.
Only a 7-time All-Star. I thought he'd be more.
Yeah, he was a beast. He was unbelievable. I still remember when he went to the Spurs after, and that was
like 55, and he wasn't really in his prime.
He was way out of his prime, and it was all like middies and post ups. He scored 55 off middies and post ups. It's like that player build is completely extinct in the NBA. You will never find.
Didn't shoot threes.
Yeah, he couldn't, like DeMarcus Cousins. I bring back a player like that. That guy would drop 50. You know, he had some of those craziest games. I've gone back and watched the highlights from those games. It's not 1-3. It's like just bruising and one dunks. Like it is just that's exciting. Like not the. There's something cool about a 7-footer being able to step out there and, hit a couple threes. Like, that's cool. But I would rather see this extinct breed of bigs that, they're gone. They're gone.
They're gone. We want to pivot to Terry Rozier.
Yeah. We'll end on Scary Terry.
Yeah.
With a K. Scary Terry with a K.
You saw this before me. It sounds like he may have been involved in the same betting ring as Jonte Porter.
Yes. Yeah. Something. Apparently, there was a lot of insider info from Terry, and he let the right people know. There was, I forget what they call it in gambling terms. It was like inordinary betting patterns, or like they just got a shit ton of money on Terry Rozier's unders at on a random Wednesday. I forget what day it was. And so they turned off his lines to say, you can't bet Terry Rozier right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why everyone's doing this. What are we missing? This is what the books are saying.
Yep.
They end up throwing his line back up right before the game at like 20.5. He plays 9 minutes, scores 5 points, and is out due to right foot soreness. He doesn't play again, which is the same thing Porter did a couple times. That was a bad case. He faked a couple injuries.
It's always the unders.
And it's the unders. Yeah. I mean, that's the most guaranteed way to just fake an injury. Like why, we'll talk about what the incentive was for Rozier, but like just being a smarter person, why not just go out there and brick? Like, and then people are like, oh, let's go back. This was weird. Oh, he sucked, but we can't prove that he sold he threw the game on purpose. The guy just took himself out of the game. 9 minutes and he stopped playing. Like that is like, dude, cover your tracks if you're even going to try this.
Fake injuries wouldn't be the way to go.
How hard is it to stand up there? And I don't know, I'm not an NBA player, but like just put a little lecture on all your shots. Oh, I was long tonight. Didn't have it. Right?
I feel like it would be harder to tell that he's throwing a game that way.
Yes.
Compared to the way he did it. There has to be more guys out there doing this.
Absolutely.
Which worries me. What if
haven't been caught?
Yeah. What if they're doing it that way?
I think they probably are. And the scariest part about this one, Porter, he had an NBA career ahead of him, but he hadn't made like his money yet. Terry Rozier he just signed a $100 million contract 3 or 4 years ago. The guy doesn't need money. No. So unless he's done something and he's bankrupted himself or whatever. Yeah. But he's still making $25 million this year. Like, how hard is it to just
next year
struggle through? Oh, there's no $20 million. Like, I don't know. Either he's gotten himself into a really, really bad spot, which then at that point I can't really judge that. But at this point, if this guy's willing to do it, that's scary. That's absolutely scary as a bettor and someone who watches the sport. That's gross.
And him, maybe he's just having a down year because he's having a down year, but you start to think about this year as well, how bad he's been.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll be examined. They'll look through games and be like, yo, you shot 0 of 8 this game. Like,
what I don't know. Doing?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what it is, but it's crazy.
But that's where it's harder, where it's like, oh, is he just struggling or is he actively throwing games? That's different than fake injuries.
Yeah, and you never want to question that about a guy, but in this case, it's not even – he didn't play last night, right? He's been out or something?
I think he played the other night. He had like 25.
Is he still in the Hornets?
No, he's on the Heat. He had 22 against the Cavs last night.
You're right. I was looking at the Hornets. I don't know why.
Do you think the prevalence of sports betting will be an issue, a serious issue for the league long term in preserving integrity?
I think it already is, and we've seen it. It's not just an NBA problem. This is a Shohei Ohtani. Like, this is happening all over sports, and
Yep.
I don't know what they were expecting when they shoved it down our throats. Like, I don't know, in my lifetime, it's not that long, but like, I've never seen whatever. I don't even know what happened, but DraftKings, FanDuel, they were yelled at. They said, stop. You can't show your commercial every timeout. Like, at one point it was timeout, DraftKings, FanDuel game, timeout, draft. Like, it's on the courts. It's everywhere.
Every single, you cannot watch a major sports game without seeing BetMGM, Fanatics, DraftKings, FanDuel.
Everywhere. You can't even watch a pregame show. Oh, this is the pregame. This is
They're doing parlays.
Same game parlay that I want you to do. And like normal betting, you'll never find a same game parlay that's like has value. Just doing same game parlays and doing parlays in general, you lose value. It's a donation, and people still do it. I'll still do it. But like it's and they're just encouraging this type of behavior. And now you got this whole thing going on. Like, I don't know. As soon and you got to think about the black markets. Like, oh, Terry Rozier just made us $800K. Let me hit up this guy. Yeah. Hey, can you do this for us? We'll get you in good. I don't know. Once you hear wind of like this easy money, it's got to be people are probably jumping on the bit to do this themselves.
Yeah, like back to your point, it doesn't make sense. Like, are you just that greedy that you make 24 mil and you still want more?
And or are
you that down bad financially that you have to?
Yeah, and you got to think too, when you are pulling something like this off, you can't go to Vegas and say I'm putting $10 million on Rozier's under.
No, it's so calculated and the bets are all spread out, but still, I mean, they have to know that it's going to get flagged. I guess they make their money regardless, and Terry's the fall guy.
Yeah, and that's what happens. But even still, say you spread it out and it equals 10 mil. The books will flag that. Why is there $10 million on when
Terry
there's
Rozier.
normally 100,000? It's like the dumbest thing. It would have to be 10 mil for, in my opinion, Terry to be like, yeah, that's worth it. Say you split it with the guys, they take 5, you get the other 5.
Yeah.
But you're risking your career, like your career earnings. The next 10 years, you would have made.
You go to jail.
Exactly. So it had to have been worth it for him in his mind. And again, that's just scary. That's really scary for him.
It's a bad precedent. And I mean, we're just kind of getting into I want to say since like 2019, 2020, really post-COVID sports, I feel like the gambling picked up rapidly.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's all people had to do during that time.
You hear the car horn. Oh, good. It stopped.
Oh, no.
You want to end on that?
Yeah. I'll read you Terry Rozier's career 3-point percentage is 33%, 34. So right now he's shooting 29. I thought that would have been a bigger dip.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's a pretty big dip. In Boston,
37 with the Heat last year, basically 36 combined, down to 29.
Yeah, and
that's a big dip.
He had a year with shooting 40.7, 39. So that's a dip. That is a dip.
So who knows why, but not good. Not good for the league.
No, it's a career low year for him. And now this comes out. That's ugly. That is ugly.
Yep. Appreciate people tuning in. These are going to be weekly, every Thursday. Next week will be trade deadline central. The deadline is at 3:00. So we'll be going right after. Yes, right after the deadline's over. Go over every deal.
Beautiful. We'll definitely get a live going for that too.
One of the best days of the NBA year next Thursday.
I'm gonna have to call out at work. So, hopefully, no one's watching that. Banging.
Appreciate everyone tuning in. See you next week.
Peace.